Hello, my name is Camille and today I'll be showing you how I made this jewelry hanger. My goal with this project was to create a cute plant jewelry organizer that lets you see all your jewelry at once. The first step was molding plaster. I mixed the plaster with half the water called for and molded the shape of the flower pot using a plastic container and cup coated in dish soap for easy removal. When finished, I tapped it on the ground to remove bubbles. While that dried, I cut out 5 sets of 2 felt leaves of varying sizes and shades of green, leaving a rectangle at the base of each leaf to create the stem later. Using needle nose pliers, I bent 2 wire supports for each leaf, taking inspiration from the shapes of veins on leaves. Using a blanket stitch, I sewed the 2 supports into 1 leaf from each set. These will be the bottoms of the leaves. After about an hour, I returned to the plaster, which had fully dried, and removed it from the mold. I sanded the top to flatten the rim of the pot, then I painted it. I had initially planned on using terracotta to make the pot, however this turned out to be more challenging to mold and more expensive. So instead I mixed brown, orange, and yellow paint to make a color similar to terracotta. Next I got to work creating the shape of the plant. I cut 1 piece of wire for each of the 5 leaves, leaving them slightly longer than the height I want the leaves at. As you can see, I used a pair of needle nose pliers to wrap the wires around each other at the bottom to create a strong base. To assist with the plant aesthetic, I painted the wires green and embroidered and sewed more details onto the leaves. Using a running stitch, I sewed halfway up the top and bottom leaves, connecting them on one side. Here I am attaching the leaves to the wire by threading the wires between the supports and the bottom leaf. Next I sew down the other half of the leaf so that the 2 pieces of felt are surrounding the wire. Covering the wire intersections and structural support on the leaves was a design decision made because making aesthetically pleasing structural supports would have required more skill and more time. I wrapped the rectangle at the base of the leaf around the wire and sewed it in place to create a stem. Next, I mixed more plaster and poured it into the pot where the soil would go. Then I placed the plant into the pot and stirred it against 2 objects so that it wouldn't fall over while it dried. When it dried, I finished painting the rim of the pot as well as painted the new plaster dark brown to look like soil. Next, I used a double-rivet tool to punch holes in the felt for hanging jewelry. You could also use a hole punch for this. The last step was creating a macrame plant hanger for my new little plant so that it doesn't have to take up space on my desk or dresser. I cut 8 pieces of twine that were 40 inches each and tied them all together at one end. I split the 8 lengths into groups of 2 and tied each group of 2 into a knot about 2 inches away from the first knot. Beneath this row of knots, I took the left string from each group and the right string from the adjacent group and tied them together, creating a net that the plant sits in. I highly recommend looking up a simple YouTube tutorial if you're interested in learning macrame. Here is my final project. I'm very happy with how it came out and I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.